Hello, Kara. Hello, Adam. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. It's so good to have. I believe this is the first time that I've had two people on the OhHello pod at once, and they say you'll always remember your first. And so, with that said, it feels great to have very early adopters, early believers of the OhHello platform. We've got the chief people officer and the CEO of Sightly with us today. Kara, Adam, go ahead. Give us your intro. Tell us about who you are, what Sightly does, and we'll jump in from there.
Kara.
All right. Well, I am the Chief People Officer at Sightly. I've been at Sightly for almost 8 months at this point, which is crazy. It's felt like 2 years, but also felt like 3 months. So it's somewhere right in the middle, which is exciting. And my background is HR and people for the last 20 years, and I'm so excited to be here at Sightly and here with you, Jeremy, on this podcast.
Thank you, Kara. Thank you, Kara. Mr. Katz, tossing it to you.
Yeah. CEO of Sightly. Been at Sightly for almost coming up on 11 years now. It's been a crazy run. I started out all the way back then as just a sales rep in the company and worked my way up throughout pretty much every role you could imagine in
It's
an
awesome.
organization. So at this point, I feel like one of the reasons, I wanted to adopt something like OhHello and help mentor others is just because I've seen every role on the field at this point. And I think, it's hard to get somewhere without having been in something before. And definitely want to give back to that. In terms of Sightly, yeah, I mean, we do a lot of great things, but ultimately our core is that we're the leader in real-time marketing and intelligence, helping brands understand who they are, what they stand for, how they want to react, or how they want to be perceived in market. And we help them get right in the center of culture through what's most relevant to them, what matters to them, the size of the moment. And we do it on both the paid media and the intelligence side. We're very well known for our paid media activations and results, but our business is really, really taking off and booming on the audience and intelligence development side. So we're super excited.
Well, I'm excited to have you both here. One of the reasons why I wanted to have both of you come on at once was because of the dynamic of getting to know both of you individually and then collaboratively as we've had a handful of conversations. The dynamic, the feeling and dynamic power of having a chief people officer and a CEO, two completely different personalities. You two are yin yang and are just like such a fun combination on every call that we've had. And so, as you've given me feedback on how your team uses a platform, OhHello, like OhHello.ai, it's really important to understand and for you guys to be able to just showcase how you are leading this awesome distributed workforce. You've got just a powerhouse of great people spread out throughout North America. And so, Kara, you don't necessarily come from an ad tech or advertising background in the same way that Adam and I do. And
Yeah.
so when you first decided to join Sightly and you met someone as charming as Adam, like what was going through your head?
Yeah. I'm so glad you mentioned that. In one of my first conversations with someone at this company, they said holdco, and I was like, "What is a holdco?" That's how much I don't know about media and ad tech. And I came to Sightly because of the culture, like full stop. Once I found out what Sightly did and the product, I got really excited about it. I'm still excited about it. It's so exciting. But meeting Adam the first time, just very unconventional CEO, someone that I knew
Totally.
truly cared about people in a way that other CEOs that I've worked with just haven't. And as a people leader who truly cares about people and leads with empathy, that was so exciting for me to be able to work with a CEO that led with empathy as well and truly cared about every single individual within the organization. And the biggest thing with that is I I believe that the chief people officer and CEO, that relationship needs to be really special for the organization to continue to create great culture and allow everyone to thrive in a really great way. We are two different people. We have two different I don't know, visions, ideas, different things. We don't agree on everything, which is really awesome at the same time.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's why I'm here. It really was. It's Adam and the culture here at Sightly.
Well, Adam, it says a lot about you starting off as an AE, going into the CRO role, going into the GM role, going into the CEO role throughout an 11-year process. The culture, it starts from the top. And you and I have had several conversations about this, and I have a ton of respect for what you're building and the way you lead, because the people that work with you, not for you, all say that as well, is that it comes from the top when you treat people with respect. So help us understand a bit more of just how you became a powerhouse in a distributed workforce.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Kara, thanks. I've never heard you say something nice about me. I appreciate it.
Oh, that's not true.
But in terms of, wow, I'm going to rewatch this podcast every time Kara's like, that's a terrible decision. But anyway, so the truth is, it's a dynamic question, right? Jeremy, I think it comes down to a couple of different things. One, it's who have you met along the way that makes you comfortable in your skin to not have to look at everyone in the face in an office every day. So I think you have to start with that. A lot of these leaders forced everyone back into the office because they need to feel good out there.
So with you. Yep.
So I think first and foremost, I don't need that. The second thing, it comes down to also, I've been very blessed. I got to see my two kids' lives. One of them's 4, one of them's 1. Kara, she sees Sophie come in on calls, and you know what? I feel like nowadays, a lot of people talk about working and living at the same time. I think it's the facts. That's the world we now live in. You're attached to your phone, you're attached to Slack or whatever it may be. And I think the healthiest life you can have today, I wish I lived healthier. Today I went to the gym finally for the first time in years. But I think the healthiest life you can kind of live is to feel like work and life are together, but that neither of them feel like they're dominating the other thing. And I'm not going to name the employee, but I'll never forget, it was a question that kind of changed the course of history for me. I was interviewing an employee and she said she hadn't been to the dentist in years. And I asked her
why,
and she said the company she worked at, she felt an immense fear to take off, to the point where she hadn't been at the dentist in years. And I looked at her and I was like, if you come to our company, you don't fucking go to the dentist, I'm going to be mad. Like, it was the opposite.
You're going to drive her to the dentist.
Yeah. So the point that I'm making is, like, in the end, how do you work? How do you have a distributed office? You just got to have confidence. B, you got to set the stage for the right way for people to work. And C, you need leaders like a Kara or Robert on my team, or the other leaders that are in the organization, who feel secure in their own skin. And I think the last piece, I think, is probably the most important that no one talks about, is that you need leaders who can do their own work. I think part of the distributed workforce challenge is that a lot of those senior leaders at companies historically got in a room, told everyone what to do and left, and then came in and said they did the work. And even if I can't do it, I give the credit out no matter what. And inside of that, we have a team of leaders who can also do it. Like, Kara's used to bigger teams, and she came in to Sightly rocking out on her own right now, so it's never easy to come into a company and do those things. So I think those are the thoughts that come to mind when I think about a distributed workforce.
Well, Adam, while we're recording today, how many employees are at Sightly?
Yeah, it depends on the moment and the minute and who you ask. No, I'm kidding. But there's between our consultants and our team that works overseas helping us on our product, we're between 80 and 110 people at any point in time, and growing right now. So shout out to anyone that's looking for roles out there, but so we
Nice.
don't pay the recruiter fees that all you guys are trying to charge us. But yeah, any given day, it's between those type of numbers.
So when you've got 80 to 110, so call it 100 people on your team, that's a lot. Those are a lot of people. Those are a lot of voices, a lot of ambition, a lot of ideas that the two of you need to cultivate, collaborate with. What keeps you up at night when you're leading 100 people
What keeps me
outside
up
of
at
your
night
two?
what keeps me up at night is my daughter, as Kara could tell you, does not like to go to sleep.
The
So
the
there is
1-year-old or the
4-year-old.
4-year-old? Yeah.
I could tell Kara, like, or my team, like, yo, we gotta catch up, and she could be sitting there waiting for me for a while because Sophie wants to watch a game, even though she's 4 already. She gets it, or she wants to have a conversation, or she wants to talk to me about something. My daughter just is a personality of just energy, learning, and wanting
It's awesome.
to like today she woke up, I'm going to pre-K, and like just everything's exciting. But being that she thinks she's missing something all the time. So that's what keeps me up truly. But in terms of like your question, really nothing. You know, we've been through so many highs and lows throughout our time here at Sightly. Kara's kind of been more in the highs, as crazy as it sounds. Like this year, Kara came in and like, thank God we got someone like her, but this has been our best year ever. You know, so even during some of the tougher times in 25, because it's never easy.
No.
Dude, it's been horrible sometimes, and it's also been amazing, but I'm really not worried anymore compared to where I used to be. The product's in a great position. We have an amazing team. And I think the only thing that I think about a lot, and I wouldn't talk about not sleeping at night, I would say is more just how the hell do I help every person in this company get what they deserve? I think that's what presses me a lot. And Kara and I have a lot of convos about that just topic in general. Because you know what? I didn't get here without people looking out for me. And I think that's where Kara and I always see eye to eye. We're always talking about how the hell do we help that person get the next thing that they deserve in their career? And how do we help with empathy or with class if there's people on our team that need something bigger elsewhere? Not equally as much in the company. So I think that's a lot of what goes through my mind that I think about. But at this point, I'm sleeping pretty well, actually.
That's good. That's good to hear, and it's awesome that your daughter has that level of just feistiness, and it sounds awesome. I miss my daughter's 13 in a month, and my son is 10. So like I'm in a little bit of a different ball game. Kara, you get it. We've talked about our kids being around the same ages.
Mm-hmm.
How would you jump in from what Adam was just saying? You're 8-9 months into the new role. You are listening to all of these different. You're listening and cultivating all these different personalities and trying to do what's best for both the company to succeed and the people on your team to accelerate and ascend to their next levels internally and externally. So let's hear about where you're sitting, how it's been.
Yeah. As Adam said, we have a lot of conversations around this, and a lot of people at Sightly have been here for a long time, which was very different from where I'm coming from. I was coming off of startups where it's like 2.5, 3 years. Let's go. And I came into Sightly and it's like, hey, I've been here for, like you just said, 11, 9, 8, 7. I was like, where are the people that have been here for just 2 years? There's not a lot of it because people feel safe here. People feel like they have growth here. People feel cared about. And people, I think the people here do know that Adam is having these conversations all the time and thinking about it constantly. And he's very open and honest about it too on leadership meetings. And expresses, like we want to do what's right for people. And whether that's here or outside of the organization, we want to continue to see growth. We want to continue to see people being excited and happy to be here and grow the company and move the company forward. And you do really feel that here because of the culture of, when you get here, we want the best for you. And if it's here, you're going to be here for a while because we're going to keep giving you the next thing. We're going to keep feeding you stuff to continue to grow you. So that's
awesome.
That's been, yeah, my, I don't know, part of this so far.
That's great. It's a great part of the journey thus far. Adam, when do you know when to ask for help at your role as an exec, as someone who's gotten to the top of the totem pole of your organization, who has climbed different ladders, and when you're talking to folks internally and externally, at what point do you recommend for them to ask for help, and how do they ask for help?
Wow. I could answer that for hours, so hopefully you don't tell me to shut up.
I won't. I'm kind.
Don't
I'll give you the signal.
Don't give me the signal this time. This is a very, very hard question. I think it starts, what I said earlier, with security. Asking for help comes from a place of security, not from a place of insecurity. So if you work in a team or an organization that promotes asking for help, that's good, right? Like I feel like shunning help at companies that are like, oh, everyone knows everything is ridiculous. So I think you just start out just with that nature in life, right? And we've talked about this a little bit, but I grew up in a house of just perfect. You could always...
The relationship that you had with your dad that you told me about.
Yeah. My dad, my mom. I grew up in a house where you could just be like, I screwed up, and we would talk about it, or, I'm feeling uncomfortable about this thing, or whatever it may be. So I think just naturally, I wish more people were comfortable to come to me with what they feel than they do. So I'll tell the whole world, if they listen to this, like, it's cool to talk to me, Kara, or anyone at Sightly about how you're feeling or what you're going through. In terms of when to ask for help, that's just something that I think you become a better executive or better in your career when you realize you don't know everything. And you start to lean on others. You know that quote, like, you always want the smarter people in the room. I can't stand that one because I like to be smart too. So let's at least be even on smart. I'm kidding. But the point is, like, all jokes aside, it's like you all have your own craft. And I think as you get older and you start to recognize that your craft is your craft and Kara's got her craft. I call Kara all the time and I'll just be like, I want to do this. What should we do? And I think early on, she was like, if I tell Adam something that he doesn't agree with it, I was like, no, it's all good. Like, we'll just talk it out. So I think asking for help comes from, like I said, security, comes from a confidence that you're going to be able to do that. But C comes from, you're really not going to be able to know everything. I know ChatGPT may tell you the answers. If you don't take out your M dash or your emojis like you don't, Jeremy, we know it's coming from there. But all jokes aside, like, until you have experience, you really haven't been through it. Right. So I think, and getting a network around you, which is what you're trying to help with, or the way I feel, is big. But I'll leave you with this last comment. When I worked at Nomi prior to Sightly, we had a CEO that was very comfortable with people talking to anyone in the company. So I kind of was around that. And he would always say, get an advisory board in your life. So I think it's important to every employee at Sightly or ever, jobs come and go, but those advisory boards in your career will stand the test of time, and they'll be who you lean on in the toughest and the best times. So I think that's the way I would think about it.
Well said. And Kara, and as you and I have talked about, just what we're creating at OhHello, just being a business acceleration platform that's based on an expert network, that's based on an empathetic circumference of great people that provide guidance, advice, and help one another. When you think through your team and you think through just Sightly's culture, what are different ways that you essentially, what are ways that you help to facilitate just the way that your team grows and evolves in a way where collaboration remains strong, it remains powerful, and how Adam hit on, you don't want to have someone on the team who just knows everything. You want to have people on the team that are constantly learning, constantly evolving, and people that don't know everything so they can be curious. So I that was an incredibly loaded question that I'm giving
Yeah, that
you.
was a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. I think what Adam
Keeps
said.
doing this to us.
What's that?
Keeps doing this to us, Kara.
I
Yeah.
do. I ask the hard questions. Kara, what do you do to keep that culture so strong? Like, how do you maintain connection?
Yeah.
That's the
Well,
brevity version of what I just asked.
um, well, we want people to keep learning, right? We want people to keep growing. Um, Adam is that way. I am that way. There's a book that I read about every 2 years. I'll pick it back up and it's highlighted. It's
Super fudge.
what got you here won't get you there. And it was
That's awesome.
one of the first CEOs I reported into. He was like, "Hey, like you've done great, but what made you great now is not what's going to make you great, right?" Because I came in and I was like, "I
Love
got
that.
this, I can do this," and he's like,
Love that.
"No, you can't. You're not there yet." He had me read that book, and it really changed how I asked for help, how I sought out mentors. Right? It doesn't always come to you. Like people are like, "Oh, I never met a mentor." It's like, then go find one. Create your community, create your advisory board. And Jeremy, I know we've talked about community is so important, and if you have to create it on your own, you have to do it on your own. But from a company standpoint, we don't want everyone to just have to do it on their own. I mean, it's one of the reasons that we truly did that we partnered with you. The first call that we got on with you, it was like, okay, we're a lean company. There's only so many of us who have time to mentor. All the leaders are player coaches here at Sightly. And we can't give mentorship to everyone. Like this seems like such an awesome opportunity to put in front of people to allow them to grow, to ask questions, to ask for help. A lot of people that have already gone through their mentorship session have even said like, "Oh my gosh, it was so helpful. I was able to ask so many questions about my career or my
It's
role
awesome.
here at Sightly." And so,
It's awesome. I love
and
hearing
things
this.
that like, Adam and I would love to spend our time doing with these people and mentoring everyone, and we can't. And so just continuing to introduce things like OhHello or different things out there that are, AI is, going wild right now with different tools and different things to help people continuously grow, right? And question where they are in their journey.
Well, thank you so much for the kind words about what we're building. It's building based on community, because both of you are also mentors on the platform. That needs
We're
to be
going to
said.
start sending you a bill for every person that leaves because of you.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's not going to happen at all, because when you're and if they leave, you know what? It means that you did your job and you did what was best for them.
I'm just going to send you the double bill.
So, Kara, throwing this back to you, just triple bill me, Adam.
Quadruple.
Quintuple. What comes after that? Like
I don't know.
Sept, oct.
Yeah.
Kara, who are some mentors that have made, or your board of advisors that have made an impact on you? If you want to talk about either individuals that have helped you throughout your career, to give them a shout, or just some of the traits that have helped you get to where you are today.
Okay. I have had so many different mentors throughout my career. I'm really not one. So there's some people who I meet who are like, "Oh, this person has been my mentor my entire life," or I met this person like in my career at this time, and we meet every quarter and chat. Right? I have surrounded myself with people that make sense for that time frame, or I feel
That
like it
season.
was just like they came in and out of my life in the times where I needed it. And with that question, my first mentor ever within the people HR landscape was my first manager, Ivana. And she was tough love, and she made me do things that I was really uncomfortable doing. Because back then for recruiting, you had to cold call people. And I was like, I'm not doing this, right? And then
I
she
remember.
would make
Yeah.
me do things that I was uncomfortable doing, told me when I was doing a great job, told me when I was not doing a great job. It was this amazing moment. It was the first manager that I had that really sat down with me. And even though some of the feedback was really tough, or I cried, or it upset me, it was like, this person actually really cares about me and cares about my career. And Ivana, I can reach out to her right now. I could call her and she would answer. She would pick up. And if I have anything personal or work related, she will be there for me. And so she helped me really turn me into the type of manager and mentor that I am today. And then, I have this one personal mentor. It's the first person that I met here in Austin.
Yeah.
He's a founder here. His name is Steven, and he pushes me personally. We'll meet for breakfast, and he will be like, "Why aren't you doing this?" He's like, that's
Love that.
ridiculous that you're not doing that, right? Just
I
like
love
straight in
that.
the face, not like,
Yep.
and it's like, okay. And he asked me questions where I have to like stare off into space, or I just stare at him and I'm like, I don't know, right? And it's those types of people that really push you beyond your comfortable limits that for me have worked as like those mentors that really stand out in my head that have impacted my life. So Ivana and Steven, shout out.
Shout
I
out
don't
to
even know if you knew that you were mentors to me, but you are.
Well, it feels cathartic to be able to talk through it. Adam, how about you?
Oh man, a lot. My dad's number one of
Yeah.
all, not even here anymore, and he's just a voice in my head at all times. What would my dad do? What would my dad? That is my number one question I ask myself in every single moment of my life. So I would say try to channel my inner father who's no longer with us. But
And
so that's
what was your dad? What was your dad's name?
Stuart.
Stuart. Cool.
Stewie, but everyone just, I mean, he was the man. But so I try to channel him in every move that I make. And like I said, I grew up in an amazing home. So that's definitely not something I can complain about to everyone. Like when
Yeah.
people are like, oh, I grew up in a tough house, I'm like, I did not. And I actually was blessed with all of that. But in terms of work, definitely Ralph, who's our executive chairman and was the CEO for a while, was really one of the first people to ever believe in me. So when somebody just has an innate, unwavering belief in you, there's nothing like that, especially when there's just no limits to that belief. And Ralph's been a unbelievable teammate and partner to me. Mark Ferrantino, when I was at Nomi, was a huge contributor to things that I think about. But truly, on top of that, Robert. So Robert's our president of our company, reports to me. And I also like learn from him every day.
I love this.
So
I love that you brought this up, and this was not I didn't plan for this. It is so important to have that kind of relationship, that kind of partnership with people. Keep on going, please.
Robert is in the company, and if his just demeanor and the way he looks at dynamics and his willingness to keep learning is something amazing. So I think a combination of like Mark's swagger and excitement and way of moving the needle, and Ralph's just grittiness and never say die personality, combined with a lot of Robert's thought process, just kind of weave together from a mentorship standpoint. But I've learned from a million different people. In terms of like, Kara's also become, not just because we're on the podcast together, a pretty big mentor in my career too. Like, she may not realize, but I call her all the time for advice. But I think, just I'll leave you with this kind of thought with the mentorship thing. I think the challenge is that we're all searching now, as Kara said, for this community, right? But ultimately, I really hope people realize community is not only people that have done it before too, right? Like community is,
Yeah.
and I said something earlier that think about a lot. Like, you want people who have the experience, but if you look at the combination of those people and then the women in my life that have changed my life, from my mom to everybody that I've ever met in business, and we have so many women that have marched up the ladder at Sightly.
It's
And
amazing. Awesome.
I think the thing that I kind of come back to is just different thoughts in the room. You need a different voice, and a lot of the time, why I like what you're doing is you need somebody who's not in the game with you making a decision, right? Because now that Kara and I are in the game together, I'm sure our decisions will be different when I call her in 11 years when she's no longer at Sightly, and those advice streams will definitely change. So definitely great question, something I think about all the time.
Well, let's end on that. That was really powerful.
Thank you.
Really powerful. So I just want to say thank you to you both. This was a really fun conversation to keep it open-ended amongst the three of us. There's no script. There's no prep work. This was fun. So
Well,
thank you both.
Great.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Thanks, Jeremy.